There's no need for you to visit me anymore. Oh, but I still expect you to pay for my treatment, Haga. What? What are you talking about? I couldn't hide my confusion at these words, tirelessly working part-time jobs for my husband's sake. Despite the fact that I had been covering the costs for commutes to the hospital and even the treatment expenses since my husband fell ill. Your role is over now. Thanks for everything up to now. Don't joke about this. I'm dead serious. And I'm going to marry your best friend, by the way. I had devoted myself to my husband, so was I supposed to be satisfied with just these words? Anger welled up from the depths of my heart, like magma erupting. My husband continued, further provoking me. Sorry, but you need to leave the house soon. It's not going to be your place anymore. Are you serious? Don't make me repeat myself. Since when? I threw the question that had been bothering me at my husband. It's been a long time. Maybe since a little after I got sick. I see. Though taken aback, I wasn't ready to just agree to a divorce. My husband might have thought I'd quietly comply, but that was a big mistake. I'm busy too. Here, write your name on this. He then pulled out divorce papers from a drawer. The irritation of how much he wanted to divorce me was mounting, but honestly, I was tired of being married to such a person. Fine. I'll divorce you. Doh. That's a good decision for you, haha. Yay, it is. With that, my husband showed a mocking grin. There was no need for restraint anymore. And so began my revenge. I am Ella, just an ordinary housewife in her 50s. I was about to celebrate my 28th wedding anniversary with my husband, Lucas. Our son, Dylan, got married a year ago and now lives a bit away. The major change in our seemingly peaceful life happened about 10 years ago. Sorry for putting you through this. It can't be helped. Around age 40, during a health checkup, Lucas was diagnosed with stomach cancer. It was an early detection, but I was heartbroken. I barely remember the moment he told me. There'll be hospital visits, maybe hospitalization. I'll work it out somehow. Sorry, thank you. After that, I immediately started working part-time. We had some savings, but I was anxious about how long it'll last and how much the expenses would be. I did contact my son, but he was still a college student at the time and I couldn't ask for his help too often. Thanks for today. You've been a great help. It's nothing. We are best friends, after all. We help each other out in times of need, right? I was truly grateful when my concerned best friend, Nora, came to check on me. She had even helped me find the part-time job I was struggling to get. Her presence had made things manageable in many ways. In fact, I had often asked Nora to help with the drive to and from the hospital when I was busy with work. It's really a relief that you came all the way here. Don't mention it. I don't have much else to do anyway. Even so, doesn't your husband say anything about it? Doh, that's fine. He doesn't seem interested in me anymore, haha. What? I shouted out in surprise. I had known Nora for a long time, and she was always a beauty, changing through the years. At the same age as me, she seemed even more attractive after turning 40. You're so beautiful. I'm envious. I couldn't help but sigh. Standing next to her sometimes felt embarrassing. Did something good happen to you recently? You seem to be smiling more. Just a little thing, haha. It's a secret from Ella. What's that about, haga? Tell me about it sometime. Maybe later. Nora's smile seemed to lift a bit. I quickly forgot about it, never imagining it would turn into something big. The treatment was going well, but at the same time, my husband Lucas's attitude gradually started to change. You've got it good, huh? Huh. It was during a hospital visit while he was hospitalized for treatment. His sudden remark left me confused. I mean, you say you're working, but you leave the driving to your best friend. What are you talking about? Sure, she helped me out when I was busy, but... Busy? You're just working at a grocery store, acting all important. Then, a question crossed my mind. Nora had been helping with the driving when I was busy, but lately, she started offering to go herself. She even went to visit Lucas in the hospital when he was there for a checkup, in my place. While I was thinking about the reason. What are you spacing out for? You got what I asked for, right? Yes, of course. Then hand it over already. You can be so thoughtless. Lucas had asked for magazines and drinks to pass the time in the hospital. Enduring his snide remarks, I handed him the convenience store bag. Fortunately, his cancer was detected early, so he was able to stay this energetic, but it could have been much worse. You can go home now. But aren't there explanations and stuff after this? There's no need for you to be here for that. Huh. I'm your wife, isn't it normal for me to hear these things? You don't get it. It's just a progress report, that's all. Still. I tried to insist, but his mind was made up. Realizing arguing was pointless, I decided to leave. If you insist, I'll go. Yay. Take care. Even as I closed the door to his hospital room, he was engrossed in the magazine, not even looking my way. I wondered why I was even doing all this. 3 weeks later, Lucas was discharged from the hospital, but his attitude only got worse. It's good he's out of the hospital. Yay. The next day, we invited Nora over to celebrate Lucas's return home. Nora, thanks for coming today. Feel free to stay and relax. Thank you. Ella, what are you doing? I'm the star today. I'll get everything ready in a minute. Then I'll help too. But Lucas stopped Nora. Nora, you don't have to do anything. You're a guest today. Nora looked at me as if asking what to do. I wished she would help but didn't say it out loud. Nora, just relax. It's not too much trouble. My smile at Nora might have been strained. It was a mix of complex emotions. From the kitchen, I could see them chatting comfortably. Lucas was showing a smile he hadn't shown to me since his diagnosis. Hey. What's taking so long? Sorry. Rushing back, Lucas continued to throw snide remarks at me. Really? Nora's here, you know. Smarten up. Lucas, I don't mind at all. Ella, you should be thankful to Nora. Yes. I couldn't understand why I had to be spoken to like this. But with Nora there, I refrained from complaining and just gritted my teeth. No, I had to. After about 3 hours, Nora left, but that wasn't the end of it. I'll leave the cleaning up to you. He didn't even bother to help after making a mess drinking. Seeing him like that, I couldn't hold back my irritation and asked, by the way, since when have you become so close with Nora? I could feel the atmosphere tense up. What? You can't be serious. What? Are you jealous of Nora, Haga, a middle-aged woman like you? Lucas was pointing and laughing at me. It's not that funny. Can't help it, Haga. From that day, Lucas completely started to ridicule me. But then, we found ourselves in a situation where we couldn't afford such attitudes. We thought the cancer was completely cured after the surgery, but it had unexpectedly metastasized. Ugh, why do I have to be hospitalized again? Lucas looked tired, but that was my line. Since his discharge, I had reduced my part-time work from 5 to 2 days a week, but the thought of having to increase it again was daunting. And then, on the morning he was being admitted to the hospital. Oh, I forgot to say, but you don't need to come anymore. Huh? Why not? You must be having a hard time every time, aren't you? That might be true, but... Besides, I need you to work properly. He used to ridicule my part-time work so much, and now it's suddenly important because it suited his needs. In reality, most of our savings were used up during his last hospital stay and surgery. Moreover, since his discharge, he had been spending a lot on his hobbies as if to vent his stress from being hospitalized. I was planning to work anyway. Then get going to work instead of hanging around here. Being treated like a nuisance, I thought I might as well leave. Then, I'm going home. Yay, hang in there. It was when I was about to leave the hospital. I happened to cross paths with a familiar face. Nora, what are you doing here? No, right. Lucas is getting admitted, isn't he? Yes. And what about you, Nora? A friend of mine is hospitalized here. Just visiting. I had a brief chat with Nora and then headed home, but I couldn't shake off the encounter with her at the hospital from my mind. However, I couldn't pinpoint what was bothering me. Eventually, I went to work with these unsettling feelings. Ella, I have a favor to ask. A favor. I thought you didn't need my help. The call from Lucas came the day after he was admitted. Despite all his bluster, he ended up relying on me, just using words to intimidate. That's irrelevant. Come quickly. All right, I'll be there soon. In the end, it turned out to be just an errand he wanted me to run at the hospital. After that, Lucas developed various other illnesses in addition to cancer, leading to repeated hospital visits and admissions. Each time, I continued to drive him to the hospital and run errands disguised as favors. Before I knew it, 10 years had passed. The reason I hadn't divorced him was because of our son. Maybe it's time to think about it. Staying married was only because of me, right? I think it's a good idea too. My son's Phil had been strict towards single parents due to his own tough experiences. So I had endured until my son got married. I decided to have a candid discussion when my son visited home. I feel like I'm conceding if I bring the divorce. Well, knowing him, he's sure to say something. So, I'll wait a bit longer. I can endure it for that. Sure, but don't push yourself too hard. I know, haha. Yet, every time Lucas verbally abused me or treated me terribly, his health would decline. It almost felt like a punishment. This time was no exception. He was hospitalized for a peptic ulcer. That should be me. I couldn't help but think that. Fortunately, it seemed like a short hospital stay with medication. Then, on the day he was hospitalized, when I went to visit, "You don't have to come for visits anymore." "Oh, but I do need you to keep paying for my treatment, haha." What? What are you talking about? Over the years, I've been subjected to all sorts of words from my husband, who just seemed to want to use me to his advantage. I was just appalled. Even though I had been paying for his medical treatments and transportation from my own earnings ever since he fell ill. Your role is over now. Thanks for everything up to now. Don't joke about this. I'm dead serious. And I'm going to marry your best friend, by the way. My best friend? You mean Nora? That's right, I'm marrying Nora. She's more beautiful and has a better temperament than you. But this raised a question. But Nora is married, isn't she? She's getting a divorce to marry me. The word best friend ignited a magma of anger deep within me. Lucas continued, as if to provoke me further. Sorry, but you need to leave the house soon. It's not going to be your place anymore. Are you serious? Don't make me repeat myself. Since when? I pressed him for answers. It's been a long time. Maybe since a little after I got sick. I see. Though taken aback, I wasn't ready to just agree to a divorce. Lucas might have thought I'd quietly comply, but that was a big mistake. I'm busy too. Here, write your name on this. He then pulled out divorce papers from a drawer. The more I thought about how much he wanted to divorce me, the more irritated I became, but honestly, I was tired of being married to such a person. Fine. Let's get a divorce. Doh. That's a good decision for you, haha. Yay, it is. He grinned mockingly at me. There's no need for restraint anymore. And so began my revenge. Then I'll file these divorce papers myself. All right, thanks. After taking the divorce papers from Lucas, I decided to go home. Sitting on the sofa, I took a deep breath. The hardest part was yet to come. I called my son to tell him about the situation. I can't believe he was that prepared. He must have really wanted to divorce. Well, the timing isn't bad. He brought it up, and if he's kicking you out, you can come here. That would help, but are you sure? Of course. Besides, I've already talked to my wife about it to some extent. Thank you. I packed a few days' worth of belongings in a bag and headed to my son's house. I was surprised to be welcomed more warmly than I had imagined, but it was comforting to have allies. But to think he's been planning this for nearly 10 years. What was he thinking? I pondered over the words my son muttered under his breath. Now that I think about it, there were signs. For instance, Nora, who used to be more formal at our house, had started acting more at home. And when I saw her at the hospital, she was probably there to see Lucas. The more I thought about it, the more I felt the need to make both my husband, who treated me as a nuisance, and Nora, who deceived me, pay for what they did. But what are you going to do now? Don't worry. I have this. Huh. The divorce papers. Yes. His name is already on them, and I said I'd file them, Haga. Though. I see what you mean now. It seemed like my son caught on to my plan. Unless I submit this document to the city hall, we're still legally married. Even though I suspected them of infidelity, there was no concrete evidence. So, I decided not to file it immediately and gather evidence instead. I might need your help with this, Dylan. Of course. What should we start with? First, we wait for him to be discharged from the hospital. He said he wanted me out, so he must be planning to live in that house. But she's your best friend, right? Are you okay with this? I let out a long sigh. I'm prepared for it. She crossed a line that she shouldn't have, even as a best friend. Then, I reached out to a particular person, Nora's husband, Grayson. It turned out he was also abruptly presented with divorce papers. When I proposed my plan, he readily agreed. Thank you so much for this. I just hope this works out. Nora had once complained to me about being neglected, but it turns out it was a lie, and she was the one ignoring Grayson. They were indeed a match for each other, Nora and my husband. I could only sigh when I heard that story. Just leave it to me. I'll make sure those two pay for their wrongdoings. I waited eagerly for Lucas to be discharged. It was about 10 days after I started staying at my son's house when he finally got out. To make sure everything was perfect, I contacted Lucas once. I need to pick up some things, is that okay? Things? Didn't you take everything with you? I'm sorry. There are just some things I absolutely have to take with me. You can throw away the rest. All right then. And how's Nora doing? She's fine. We're going to start living together in 2 days. So make sure you do whatever you need to before then. But I had no intention of following his instructions. It had to be when they were together. 2 days later, my son drove me over to my house. I still had the keys, so I sneaked inside. What are you doing here? I asked, bursting into the living room. There they were, sitting on the sofa holding hands. Why are you here? Did you forget? I said I was coming to get my things, Haga. I glanced at Nora. She looked shocked, her eyes wide open. Nice to see you, Nora. You look well. Nora looked down, perhaps feeling guilty for taking her best friend's husband. But it was too late for such feelings now. Get your things and leave. This isn't your house anymore. Why? This is still my house too, isn't it? What? What are you talking about? We're supposed to be divorced. Hearing this, I couldn't help but smile. I gave you the divorce papers, remember? The divorce papers, huh? You mean these? I showed him the papers he had given me. You haven't filed them yet. Then do it now. Don't worry. I'll take care of it later. But first, there's something else I need to do. What's that? He seemed clueless about what was about to unfold. I was curious to see how long he continued to act this confident. Since I haven't filed these, we're still legally married. So, what you're doing here is, you know, right? What? Lucas seemed clueless, not understanding anything, but with Nora, it was a different story. Looking at her, her face was turning increasingly pale. Lucas, we're in big trouble. What? Why are you so worried? What she's saying is no big deal. It's not that. Tired of watching my husband's disgraceful behavior, I decided to reveal the truth. You might not realize it, but what you two are doing is technically infidelity. Infidelity. Our relationship was over. Maybe so, but legally, we're still married. So, doing this kind of thing would naturally be considered infidelity, wouldn't it? Lucas then stood up, looking like he was about to grab me. You tricked me. Tricked? Don't be ridiculous. I said I'd file the divorce papers, but I never said I'd do it immediately. Like I will accept that. That's not the issue. It's your mistake for misunderstanding. Were you overjoyed? Even so, that doesn't mean anything. It was unbelievable. He was trying to shrug off his own actions. Of course, I'll be seeking alimony. And there might be a division of assets too, Haga. So that's what you're after. It's payback for everything you've done. Damn it. Too bad for you, Haga. Lucas was muttering to himself in disbelief. But there was another person who needed to be held accountable. Nora, you understand the situation now, right? I'll be claiming alimony from you too. We are best friends, can't we handle this in a more peaceful way? We are best friends, up until just now, haha. Oh, and Nora, you gave Grayson the divorce papers too, didn't you? How did you know? Since you know to ask, a smart woman like you should understand by now. No way. That's right, Grayson hasn't filed the papers either, so you might be facing alimony claims from him as well, haha. Nora suddenly stood up. Nora. I'm going home. What are you talking about? Goodbye. With that, Nora left the house. Lucas was left with his mouth agape. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Really unfortunate, haha. Even Nora has left you. It's all your fault. Don't blame others. It's all your own doing. Then, suddenly, he changed his tone, as if he had no other choice. You know, I forgot how important you were, Ella. Your words made me realize. You've finally realized, have you? Yes. I was out of my mind. So. I could already guess what he was about to say. And that's why I didn't let him say it. Just so you know, I will be seeking alimony, and we're getting divorced. I see right through your intentions. I apologized, didn't I? As if an apology would make me forgive you, haha. What kind of woman would take back a scumbag like you? Even your mistress has abandoned you. Satisfied with getting out all I wanted to say, I began to get ready to leave, but Lucas clung to my leg. Please, I can survive like this. Huh. That's none of my concern. Would you let go of me? I shook him off and left to return to my son. How did it go? It was quite satisfying. I can tell. You look relieved. Let's treat ourselves to something delicious on the way back. I felt a sense of relief like never before. There was still more to do, but for now, I was content with seeing the look of despair on Lucas's face. Later, I promptly contacted a lawyer to start the divorce procedures. I wanted to finish everything before Lucas could cause any more trouble. He probably never expected things to turn out this way, but he was naive. Hello, Nora. I received a call from Nora after consulting with the lawyer. Well. There was a pause on the phone. Is there something you need? I'm really sorry about what happened. I'll pay the alimony. All right. Are you okay on your end? We talked it over and decided not to divorce. I see. I wish you happiness. Gah. Nora seemed like she wanted to say more, but I hung up. I felt that if I continued talking, I might end up forgiving her. But when I think about it calmly, I realize that I can forgive her that easily. After all, she had deceived me for nearly a decade. Of course, she wasn't the only one who contacted me. I don't think there's anything left to talk about. Wait, please. Just hear me out. Fine, I'll listen. For the last time. I have to be hospitalized again. By now, nothing he said surprised me. How long will you be in the hospital? You'll have to handle it yourself from now on. I don't have any money. I've supported you all this time, but I'm not obligated to anymore. Why don't you ask someone else? Like anyone would help me. You had someone until now, huh? Too bad. If that's all, I'm ending this call. Good luck. I was satisfied with delivering that final sarcastic remark. I could imagine his expression. Afterward, the divorce was finalized successfully, and I received the alimony I was owed. Finally, I was free from the curse that was my husband. I couldn't be happier. By the way, he contacted me too. This happened a week after he contacted me. Really? Of course, I told him I couldn't do anything. That's the right answer, haha. He should suffer for what he's done. I still live with my son. Surrounded by my son and his family and my grandchild, I am happy. Though I wasted 10 years, it's not too late to start over. From now on, I want to live a peaceful life, making up for the lost time.